It's official. It is the day I actually decided to buy this awesome game. This is Ninja Gaiden Black 2. Let's do normal. Special Agent Sonia appears at the door of the tiny shop run by Master Swordsmith Muramasa. Amidst the skyscrapers of Tokyo, she inquires the ninja Ryu Hayabusa. His whereabouts is a mystery. She brings news of a terrible danger facing the world, bearing a message that must reach Hayabusa at any cost. As night falls, the evil Black Spider Ninja clan emerges from the shadows to invest the streets of this unsuspected city. Here we go. Cutscene. Let's see if it's catching. Okay, good. All right. All right. Just want to make sure it's catching it. All redone by Unreal, by the way. All Unreal Engine. So that's really cool. Ads coming up, so I'm sorry about that. Let's see how cool this game is. I am excited. Ninja Gaiden's back, baby, and I'm happy. And they got like a new Ninja Gaiden game coming out, and I'm very excited for it. Uh,
Oh, let me get this straight. You don't have a clue where I can find Ryu Hayabusa?
No one knows where a ninja goes. If he isn't at the Hayabusa village, he could be halfway around the world. Sonia, was it? Do you have business with you?
I do.
And what might that be?
All I'll say concerns the Archfiend.
The Archfiend.
right, right. Jesus Christ! Headshot. Okay. Oh, you're fucked. Lady, you are fucked. You are uber fucked. That's our big claws. And that's an air. That's ninja stars to the back, bitch. And the face. Ouch. Behind you, motherfucker. Whack! Whack! All the twitching. Do we get to fight? Oh, we get to fight, don't we? We get to fight ninja.
We have. I expected more, Ryu Hayabusa.
Oh, I'll get her back. Don't worry about it. Okay. Oh my god. Ooh. All right. There's Muramasa. Little laggy, but it's all right.
Why, if it isn't Ryu?
They were minions of the Black Spider Plague.
Not skipping it.
Indeed they were. We haven't heard from them in a while.
Who was the woman?
You don't know her? Neither do I. You couldn't save her? He was looking for you. He said it was about the Archfiend.
Archfiend.
Dum dum dum. Uh. Ow. Hey. How's your head? Alright, go there. Alright. Oh. This game, man. Ah. Heal and save. Okay, so I saved. Ah. Alright, that's good. This game is good so far. I love it. Alright. What's over here? Kick. Blue essence. Okay. Ah. Alright, yeah, I know how to do that. Ow. Oh, fuck. Ah. Reverse swing technique. I know how to do that. Ooh, Life of a Thousand Gods. That gives me more health. Alright. Uh-oh. I meant to do that? Ah. Okay. Oh, look at the ragdolls on the body, though. Oh, my God. Uh. Alright, so we can go here. Alright, that gives us health back. Okay. Up here. I can't go there. Alright. Alright, we tried. Oh, poor guy. He just wants to try to fight me. Now his body's being dragged around. Like a little bitch. Alright. Art of the Inferno. Ah. That's nasty. Alright, so I think we gotta go this way. Yep. Alright. This game is cool so far. I like it. Kick. Oof. Oh. Alright, let me see. Where am I? Huh? Wait, can I do this? Yes, I can. I remember that. Ah! Bitch. Bitch. Ooh. Oops. Bazara. Didn't mean to do that, but okay. Alright. Huh? Alrighty. Now we're good. Now we're good. Ooh. See me? Flying bird technique. I know how to do the flying bird. My God, this is so brutal. Love it. Love it. Alright, so let's go here. Man, look at the feathers and everything, man. No drop frames, by the way. Running really good. Ah! Ah! Love it. Love it. So good. I like the visualness of the game. It's really cool. Alright. Jesus Christ. It's so brutal. So brutal, and I love it. Alright, let's do that. I think there's something over here, right? Could be. Mmm. That meaty hits, man. It's like, mmm. Girl. Ooh, Life of the Gods. Good. And it automatically uses it? That's even better. I'm coming for you. Don't worry, I got my blades ready for you. Damn. I murdered his ass. Damn, double. Fuck. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna go up here. This is really cool. I have never played this game on stream before. It has a normal mode, which is good, so. Alright. Get those. Flying swallow. That's your flying swallow. Alright. God damn, that's cool. Mm-hmm. Okay. What's in here? Is that the staff? Alright, let's see. I do have that. Alright. I'll take the staff first. Alright. Oh, wait, before we do. Pop. Thank you. Alright. Alright, let's go there. Ultimate technique, I know. Let me go back. Jesus Christ. Damn. This is cool. This is really cool. We're just still in first chapter here, man. Little secret. Drains of spiritual life. It backs like potions, which is good. Nope. Ow. Alright, monk. You're going down. Ooh. Uh. Ah. Get fucked. Alright. So where do we go now? There? Oh my god. Yeah, this game is brutal and I love it. Alright. See what's over here first. Nothing, alright. Ah, man. Ooh, Muramasa shop. Good. So it's right here. Uh, wait, I can upgrade my. Okay, let's see if I can go. Death of Talisman Rebirth. See one of these. All right, so I can get more essence later. There you go. Obviously, we gotta go down here. So, herb of spiritual life. Good. I need that. Ah, that missed. Nope. There we go. Oh, where do I go from here? Fine. All right. Yeah. All right. All right. We go this way. Furious wind. I know. Don't interrupt my combo. All right. All right. Let's see where we're at. We have to climb up that building, really? Okay. We're climbing up that building. With two dragons. That looks badass. Why does he look so badass in that? Ow. Oh, here we go. Kill again! Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Music's pumping. We go here. Oh, I can bust these though. Alright, so I guess that's essence, okay? What's up here? First, let's go down before we go up, right? Maybe there's something downstairs we have to get. See, always go down to the bottom level because you never know what you're gonna get. In this hyper violent fight, okay. That was a lot of soldiers. A lot of soldiers that I killed. Flying bird technique. Bitch. Ain't that I ain't done with you. I ain't done with you yet. Hold on, let me see if hey! Oh, my game's muted? Shit. Hold on, let me do something real quick. And see if it's is it, let me see if you can hear it now. Can you hear it? I'll turn let me see here. 1 minute. You know it's not a Shao stream when there is a little scuff, you know? Alright. So how you guys doing? Gabo, Fen, how you doing? Welcome in. I'm excited to play this game. I have not played a Ninja Gaiden game in a long time. Oh, this is so good so far. It's bloody, gory, and Ryu Hayabusa. I forgot. Okay, we're going blacksmith. Oh, we can't do blacksmith yet. Okay, that's good. That's good. Ooh, what? Alright. Oh, fuck. Fuck you. You're on fire, bitch. You're fired. How much essence do I have? I don't know! Fuck! Okay. Alright. Boss fight? Or not boss fight. I don't know. Uh-oh, they took her away. They took her away. Oh wait, I think we have to fight the, spider guard. Yeah, we have to fight the spider guy. Here he is.
You shall not pass.
Okay, Gandalf the White. Oh, yeah, face another one. Alright, this is interesting.
Shadow Ninja Rasetsu. And you will not leave here alive.
Yeah? I think they're gonna change that. Oh god, that's one. Ow. 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 Hi, how you doing, Marissa? Okay. Okay. Ow. Shit. Get fucked! Oh! Get fucked! Oh! This
You're coming
game.
with us. Stop
This
struggling.
fucking game.
Take us up.
This is a fun game. Can you actually hear it now? Like, is it good? I just want to make sure.
You can have her, Ryu Hayabusa. She's just a tool of the CIA. You bought us the time we needed.
You know, a little known fact. They were talking about putting her in the next
Ryu.
DOA game, and they never did.
Finally
They
found
put in Rachel
So,
and Mochi.
what does the CIA
or
want with me?
Momoka, whatever her name is.
We have a serious problem. The fiends are trying to resurrect the Archfiend. We can't let that happen.
I see the agency's broadened its horizons.
Ryu,
I didn't
they're
know
heading
that.
for the Hayabusa
President thought it
village.
was-
They're
it
after
was
the
such
demon statue.
ballistics.
Your clan is in danger.
Oh, what else is new? My clan's always in danger. We're saving right there. Castle of the Dragon. So no giant statue we fight, because I think if you play on hardest levels, you'll fight. Uh-oh. Alright, encode, turn down the video setting, or okay. That was weird, never happened that before.
Genshin. Why am I not surprised?
How the vaunted Dragon Ninja bloodline has withered, Joe Hayabusa.
Your embrace of the evil way has consumed you.
Evil. The ninja way knows neither good nor evil.
Corruption of the soul is a fate that befalls the weak.
Enough talk. The ties that bind our clans are severed tonight. You will be bloodstained from my blade.
Genshin, you fool.
My village is on fire. Oh, fuck. Now it's back to normal. That's weird. Here we are, chapter 2. Oh, I forgot what that was. Heart of the Inferno. Ultimate Guidance. Alright. God damn. This looks pretty. Minus the bloodshed, everything else looks pretty. But yeah, this is cool, man. This is a great game so far. How do you like the new slime model? I don't know if you're still here. No one call PETA. No one call PETA. No one call PETA. If they were a rabbit, I had to put him down. Wait a minute. So far, they're not hurting me as much, but they still hurt. Oh my god. I remember this area from the first Ninja Gaiden, where his village is burning down, and you have to run here. Fight the guys on horseback, right? And you go here, right? And you fight the guy, like the major monster guy on here. God damn it. Get fucked. Yeah, this was a challenge area. Okay. Life of Gods, that's 2. I guess challenge areas now give you Life of God. This is pretty. Hello? Pretty good. Alright. We're gonna go with basic weapon damage for now. And then we're gonna go upgrade the weapons when we are ready. When we are ready. Ooh. Well, you know what? Oh, let me get this ice out of here. Oh, got it. Okay. Enjoy your drink, bitch. Oh my god. Counterattack techniques. While blocking for an X or Y. I know. I've done it before, man. Alrighty, save. Nothing, alright. Oh. fuck with me, man. Alright. I'm a ninja on edge! Okay, sorry. I'm a ninja on edge. Don't tap me. Ooh. Talent fangs? Okay, I'm gonna check these out. Oh my god. That's it. Hey. Oh my god. How's your face? Oh my god! What the fuck? Holy shit! Guys, I am losing my mind. What the fuck just happened? That was crazy. That was fucking crazy, bro. You bitch! Fuck your head off. Fuck. Man, this game just rocks every minute. Alright. Oh, your head's gone. Yeah, get fucked. Ooh, another one. Alright. So we get to a checkpoint. Oh, fuck you. Fucking Christ. Oh, his head's rolling around. Ew. Yeah, don't fuck with me, man. I am a ninja on edge. Jesus Jesus Christ. Okay. Holy mother. Alright. We're going in here. That's nuts. Okay. Wait, back to my home? Damn, Gina. Ow. Aha. Oh yeah. Alright, blue essence is good. Blue essence is good. Alright. You're asking for it, you know? Alright. Fuck it. Oh my god, fucking Christ. This game. Alright, so where we go here? America. Oh no, you're not. No! Fuck you, priest. You ain't Judas. Alright, let's use one of these. Might use... Oh, there's a safe fire here, so we might not need that at all. Alright. Alrighty, they're dead. Over here. Where am I going? Okay, both. So it's, yeah. Alright. Alright, we gotta fight. Remember this guy? He's back. Ow. Oh god. I'm definitely gonna use one of these. Alright, we can do more of these. Oh, you're fucked. And you're dead. And you're out of here. That's another spider ninja done. That was a cool fight. Don't know why that was considered a quote-unquote boss fight, but it is what it is. I have to fight the neither fight.
And thus the sun sets on the Dragon Ninja bloodline.
That's the arch.
Damn you!
The demon statue is ours.
Demon statue, okay.
This statue is the talisman of Mount Fuji.
Now the sacred peak erupts.
The gates of the underworld are opened.
The fiends are unleashed.
Get a room, too. Alright. Where do I go? Is there a safe spot back here? Oh, there's that. Maybe that. You know what? We're gonna switch to that. Though I like those things, I have to not like. Good, okay. I have to be on. Use my other weapons too, you know. bit. Oh, sneak attack, huh? Alright. Alright. Here. What do we get? Yellow essence, okay. Look. Go. Yes. Yeah. Oh, you bet. Sweet life without the gods. Let's go. Don't fuck me. I have arrows too, bitch. You know? Okay. Huh. Oh, this is where I fight what's his name, right? Yeah. Genshin.
Father!
After this, I'll go take a break real quick. We're gonna go through at least 3 hours of this game.
You must be Genshin.
And
Impact.
you must be Joe Hayabusa.
So you must like
cub.
gotcha
It is
game,
said
huh?
that a dragon ninja would die to protect the demon statue. You seem eager
that
to
joke, I
fulfill
know.
your duty.
Don't judge me. I am a bounty boy, so
Now, Elizabeth, you must keep your word.
you must keep your word.
Stop!
Bitch!
Your death will atone for generations of hate. The bloodline of the dragon ninja ends here.
Alright. I still got the talisman to request too, by the way. Oh my god, Let me know that. I don't have no tossing either. Toss. Got him. Woo! That was a tough fight. Dad, what are you doing, Dad?
You're already dead.
What are you doing, Dad?
Follow the woman.
Dad, I want to help fight with you,
You
Dad.
must retrieve the statue. Go now.
But Dad, I want to help you, Dad. Alright, so that's chapter 2 done. Thunderclap of Catastrophe. When we get back, I will do this chapter. I'm just gonna get a drink real quick. Yeah. I will be right back. I will be right back. So yeah. All right, I'm back. I just wanted to check in on my grandmother, see how she's doing. But yeah, let's continue.
A glittering island. An exquisite city of stardust.
Oh boy.
Breathtaking.
I think that's
But you, my lady, must be so tired of the view. How's that, my dear? Are you pleased? Excellent. I know you've never lied to me.
Get a room! Get a fucking room! Wait, that's a statue. Never mind. That's wrong. Oh, so many levels that's wrong. We're in New York. Ooh, headshot. Are we surfing on a fucking dead fiend? Oh, we are surfing on a body of a fiend. That is so badass. Chop that off. Yeah! Yeah! New York. Just how like I remember it. Terrible. Fuck you, God. go here first. See what's over here. Ow! Grab the dog. I had to put it down. Sorry. Thank you. Bats. You know, bats are rats and things. You know that? But they're cute. More cute than rats. Try this one. Oh, baby! Not loading. Oh, baby! Damn! Am I getting... Oh, there goes your head, dude. Let me see something. Can I do the, I'm up there. Up there? Okay, let's see if I can go up here. Actually, let's go here first before I do anything. Okay. Yep. We'll, continue the chapter. This is fun, man. I had never had this so much fun with this game. I think right now this B-side. This B-side and what was the other one? Oh, what was the other one? Oh, there's something up here. Crystal Skull, legendary out-of-place artifacts and stuff. Ooh. So wait, do you get like, go to a place that gives you... Are they doing the same thing what they did with the scarabs? Oh, get fucked. Get fucked. Okay, this game is great. This game is great. I cannot wait for Ninja Gaiden 4 to come out. Holy shit! Ultra! Damn. That, I had to do a Maximilian for a minute, like, Ultra! That's crazy. Where are you? Where are you, little bitch? There. There's New York City. Oh shit. Hey, 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 you better fuck off, dog. Yeah, fuck off. Mean dog. Flame Phoenix, okay. Let's see what this is. We're not gonna beat the game tonight. We're gonna get as far as we can get to the game, to the end of the game. Till we get like at 3 hours. So whenever we get done in 3 hours, oh fuck, I'm hungry. You gotta got to go. Ooh. Oh god. That lag. Frame rate gets a lot. Frame rate doesn't. How much we have? Not a lot. We gotta go to a Marimasa shop soon. We gotta go down. Probably on the ground. Okay. Uh-oh. Give me a minute. Alright. It was encoding like real hard. I was trying to keep up with the game. This dog fucking off. So where do we go from here? There? So what's over here? Nothing? Nothing, alright. Demon seed. Let's do this. Art Inferno. Okay. Alright, I got it now. I think I got it now. I gotta jump to the other side. Just right here. Boom. Yeah, boy. Boy. Yeah, boy. Ow. I don't like water. Water's not good. I did it. Let's... Stop. You did it before, Ryu. Oh, what? Yeah, boy. Alrighty, here? Yeah. Whoa! What the fuck? That came out of fucking nowhere, bro! Ow! You don't have to fucking sneak attack me, motherfucker? Bitch. Yep. Alright, so we do got enough to upgrade. Let's upgrade these. Yeah, definitely. And we're gonna get more meat. Oh man. I don't want to go down there yet. I don't want to go down there yet. I know something bad when I go down there if I go there. I'm going to do that. Get that crystal skull. And over here. Ah, fuck. So I think if I go to Miramasa, I think I could trade those crystal skulls in? Maybe? Alright, so let's go to Miramasa again. Fuck. Miramasa! I'm coming for you, Miramasa! I wonder what those things do, though. Nothing, alright. Alright, going down. Okay. Alright. Where the fuck do I go? Alright. Get up. I go underwater? I have to go down. Alright, I think we're near a boss. I think we're near a boss. Ah, shit. Stop. There you go. I don't trust this. I don't like it. I don't like it. See? I just cut that person in half. I just murdered that man in cold blood. Boom, baby. Alright, so we got this. Alright. Well, it's boss time. After this. So, if I am a guessing man, which I'm not, I have to probably run on that train and get to that area. Watch. Yep, so good. Marksman thinking. Alright. Asshole. There we go. Well, man. Boss fight now? Boss fight now. Alright, here we go. This is a remaster. This is basically a remake. I'm gonna call it a remaster. chapter was easy. But yeah, this is a remaster of Ninja Gaiden 2 by it's really fun. I do like it a lot. Okay. We're gonna go as much as we can get to tonight. We're in chapter 4 already, so it might be a quick
Behold, the true world has begun to stir from its prolonged torpor.
I know a person I want to raid after this, so
A long era of silence, trapped in eternal slumber.
Alexei.
Yet, even the deepest slumber can be disrupted by a single strike of lightning.
you would strike my lightning. What? Man, New York City bats are huge. Alright, Muramas is right there, so let's see. I don't know what the crystal skulls do, but I think it just like the old scarab does, where if you collect all the scarabs, you get a very good weapon. I might do that. I don't know. How did those arrows feel? Good? That's great. How'd that arrow feel? Good? That's awesome. Alright, let's see what we get. Heart of the Windblade. Let's try that out. Your arms are wrong. I can cut them off with my Windblade technique. Okay. I don't know how well this is going, but I'm having a fucking blast, bro. Sometimes OBS can be a real stinky beach, you know? Okay, that was weird. Somebody clip that? And that too? No ticket. No ticket. No, Ow. Okay. Get off, okay. Fuck with the ninja bitch. Don't you dare fuck with a ninja. Ninja kicks your ass. Thank you. Alright, so what do we get here? I think my cat's meowing. Meow. What do you want? What do you want? Can't you see I'm having a good time? Alright. But this game is fun. I'm glad I picked it up. I'm enjoying the fuck out of it here. Nothing, okay. That was a big nothing, okay. Devil's Weight Mushroom, let me see. I'll keep that. I'll use those. Oh, excuse me. Thank you. Don't call Pete on me. Don't call Pete on me. The dog is rabid. I had to put it down. Grab it, have it go down. Fuck you, asshole. Fucking sneak attack me? You're gonna sneak attack that ninja? I don't think so. go here? Let me see. I'm gonna use one right now. Just for now. Is that everything I explored here? Deal with fights? Yeah, alright. That's it. I guess that's it. Somebody get it back! Somebody get it back! Get fucked! So, Mermot's coming. Alright, let's get this, let's level this up. How you do it. How you take care of business. No. What can I say? I'm a genius. I think we're near a boss fight already. Oh dear. There's the light, good. And now you die. Bye!
Grab on! Hurry!
That's actually
How is it out there?
Fiends are everywhere.
The Statue of Liberty. That's the source of all this. There's a powerful fiend there. Be careful.
Oh, we're playing. Oh, shit. Get on. Alright. Again. We'll continue with this and, oh boy. Alright. Oh my god, did I get the new sword on this? Okay. This is gonna be a killer weapon. I'm gonna save it. Though I know I'm not gonna get, you know, be safe on the safe side, you know what I mean? Damn! This weapon. Damn, bro. Damn, bro. We're gonna finish this chapter off and we're gonna call it a night. I am having a fun time with this game. I want to continue it. Oh well. That's called a side foot. We don't need the side. Oh, I know where that is. Now you're done. Now you're done. Look at all that crimson on there, man. Damn. Alright. Jesus Christ on a fight. Are you all here? Yeah, we can. Go up there? No. Grab that. Definitely grab that. What about here? Can't climb up here. Oh my lord. Yeah. Overkill. I love overkill things, man. Alright, so not that way. I want to go this way. Maybe something I'll miss. Nothing? Alright. Alright. Nothing? Here. Yeah, alright, so we gotta go inside, it looks like. Alright, thank that was badass. Camera, can I see where I'm fighting, please? Okay, so I think we're near a boss, so we gotta keep going. Let's see. Well, we can actually upgrade Emma's head. what? Like a safe spot? Maybe I'll save it. Oh. Oh, I know what to do. That is what we have to do. That was badass. So then we gotta go here. Oh god. Nice one. I think they're just loading up something. They went a little too fast. He was like, hold on! Slow it down, Junior! Alright. Here we go.
I recognize that stink.
Hey, I take a shower, buddy.
The repugnant stench of the dragon lineage.
The final lament of an ancient creature. That's death you smell.
You humans have the lifespan of flies. I have experienced things your feeble minds could never comprehend. The music of the spheres, echoing through the cosmos. You may call me Alexei. One of the four greater fiends, master of lightning.
Okay. Ow. 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 Alright, let's see. Got you, let's say. Fuck you.
Such is the fragility of evil. Ryu Hayabusa, you will pay for your sin!
Stop right here. Alright, Chapter 5, Tried Maiden's Battle. Momiji is the character that I used. But right now, I think that will be it for tonight. So now I have to go to... Alright. So let's go back here real quick. That was the most fun game I have ever played. It is so good. So good. I will try to go into harder difficulties on my free time. But yeah, that's really good. I enjoyed it. It's a lot more challenging than I remembered. Yeah. So let's find someone to raid real quick, shall we? Because I feel like we should raid someone. And I think in about 2 minutes we can raid somebody I know. But while we wait, I hope everyone had a good night tonight. Watch me play some classic games such as that Gaiden Black 2 Black, because it was really good. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it a lot. We got looks like that's some people, everybody, anyway, I'm gonna be on Discord, so if you haven't joined the Discord already, please do me a favor, hop on. It's amazing, and I hope you do like the slime model. I think it is the best model I have right now. Besides, you know, my human form, or my demon form, not the slime form. I do got a Skunkle coming up, and a Tomboy model coming up pretty soon, so we're gonna see Booba, more Booba. I mean, I'm on top of a girl that has Booba, so yeah. Anyway, one more minute until that person goes live, and when it does, I'm going to raid them because they are an amazing person and got nominated for the Small VTuber Awards, which is pretty cool. One day I'll be on there, but right now, I'm fine. Someone that shouldn't be on there is on there, but whatever. It is what it is. Is what it is. Not on yet. Okay. Let me check X, because sometimes X will be like, yeah, it's on, we're on. Woo. Sometimes it's like, Yomi. I love Yomi too. By the way, if you haven't already, go follow this beam. Oh, it's not working. It's busted. It's busted. No! Ah, it's busted. Okay. So, that's not working. Let me close it out. All right. But yeah, go follow Yomi. He's a good they're good beat. They're good beat. That person helped me out a lot, and I appreciate everything that Yomi did for me. So, and guess who's alive right now? That's the person we're rating. So, we're rating Sister Bandit, a Meister of Battle themselves. They are amazing people. So. And he's with they're with one of my favorite guys I talk to, Dadbot, aka Soulstone. Hey, no problem. Do me a favor. Go follow Yomi and go follow this person here. I swear to God, they will make you laugh so hard. Both of them. And Sister Bandit and Soulstone really has great chemistry together, and it's really funny. So definitely go give them a follow, right? All right. As for me, I think I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna be on Discord. I think every Sunday now will be until I beat the game. Gaiden Black 2 Black days. So And Black Days are here again. Anyway. I do have Blue Sky. I do have X. I'm still gonna keep X. No, I keep on getting liked by prawn bots, so yeah. Fuck that. Fuck them prawn bots. But it is what it is. Have a good night, guys. Be safe. Much love to you. And remember to be kind to each other.